Before I begin, let me make a few short remarks concerning this story. For starter, this is an untold story. You may have heard of someone, or maybe know a friend or a relative, or maybe yourself have been through something similar. The reason for that is simple. This is not a creepypasta story. This story is based on real-life events. I won't lie about the fact that parts of the story may have been added to extend the content a bit or for ambiance purposes. I of course removed the names of the persons and establishments involved in all this for legal and privacy reasons. Now, what was added, and what part is true? I'll let you decide. This is the story of the Dark Men. It all happened 12 years ago, almost to the date. My girlfriend and I had managed to get tickets for a rock concert on Halloween's Eve. Since it was out of town and that neither of us were very rich, we looked for the cheapest motel in the area and made a reservation for a late-night arrival on the 30th. The motel was quite far from the show, in the next town to be precise. Again, to save on the costs, we had predetermined that we would simply walk there after the show would be done. That next Friday morning, having taken the day off from work, we took the first bus to the city in which the rock concert was taking place. So after spending the day walking around, window shopping, and sightseeing like tourists, we stopped for a bite and headed straight to the music hall to get in line early. Finally in, we got to watch the artist give us a show 100 times better than what we could have hoped for. And once we managed to make it to the exit, as attendees pushing and shoving a little as they tried to rush through the doors, not to get stuck in a parking lot traffic jam, my girlfriend and I, our eardrums still beating from the loudspeakers, happily left the parking on foot. A good hour later, we arrived at the motel. We headed to the front desk to complete the check-in and get our room key. The tired-looking old man hands it to me and just says, "That way, second door on your left." I thanked him for his help, picked our bags up, and we went straight to the room. Like any well-advised renters, we inspected the room, the bed, the closet, and of course, the bathroom. Tired of our long day, we decided we should take a bath and relax before going to bed, which, although the tub was fairly small for two, sounded like a great idea. So I grabbed the towels on the bed as she turned the water on to fill the tub. The very next second, she lets out a noise of disgust. I asked what was wrong, but before she could even respond, an odor of rotten eggs got to me. She said it was the water that smelled like that. Sure, we could have skipped the bath and go to bed and mentioned it in the morning as we left, but the stench was now permeating the air of the entire room. So I called the front desk apologizing for the late hour and explained the situation. He said he was on his way to see what was wrong. 2 minutes later, a knock at the door. I double-checked to see who's there and see the old innkeeper. So I opened up and thanked him again for seeing to this late. He told us it was probably a problem with the drain or something. He stopped and thought for a little moment, and he said, giving us a friendly wink, "Tell you what, you guys look like a cute couple, and since you're leaving tomorrow morning, I'll let you have our lover's suite for the night. At least, the tub is bigger for two." We gratefully accepted, of course. A suite for that price was a bargain in any motel I had seen. We followed the innkeeper to swap the keys, wished him a good night, and headed to the basement floor to go to our newly assigned suite. Today, thinking back, I can't help but find strange that a suite for couples would be in a basement floor, but at the time, I thought nothing of it really. As we opened the door, we were transported back to the 70s. A combination of brown wallpapers and beige paint. On two of the parallel walls, a row of amber-tinted mirror ran the entire length of the walls. But the masterpiece, a big, red, heart-shaped hot tub right in the opposite corner of the room where the bed was. Oh yeah, and a closet-sized toilet cabinet. Second room inspected, we finally get to enjoy our bath and relax at last. Once we finished bathing, we went to bed. An hour ran by or so, or at least it seemed, but neither of us could sleep. I got up to use the restroom. Couple minutes passed, and I don't know why, but I started to get creeped out, a sensation of eeriness in the air. I just wanted to get back to my girlfriend as quickly as possible, telling myself, I'm just tired and my imagination is simply playing tricks on me. I washed my hands, and as I grabbed the towel, I hear a piercing scream in the room. I nearly ripped off the door from its hinges as I barged back in the room ready for a fight, because that was no "oh my god" a spider scream, but true fear. But all I see is my girlfriend sitting straight up in the bed, looking at the tub. I flicked on the light, asking why the hell she screamed like that, but when I saw her pale skin and trembling lips, I stopped talking. She shook her head just a little, and with a look of terror on her face and a strangled voice, she uttered 3 words that scared the crap out of me. I didn't scream. She kept staring at the tub and finally added, "It came from there," raising a finger pointing at it. To be honest, I was getting more and more freaked out, but something had to be done, so I tried to rationalize this. Told her maybe it was in another room playing a movie and we could hear it through the ventilation or the pipes. Or maybe someone really needs help. I can't call the police over that, so I called the front desk explaining maybe someone in another room could be in distress so he could perhaps check it out or something. But he said that only 2 other people had a room here tonight, but both were in the second portion of the motel, which are individual cabins located a bit further down a path behind the motel part. With that new info, my girlfriend grabbed her cell phone and starts dialing. I asked who she was calling at this hour, but she hushed me, waving her hand, and said, "My uncle is a priest." Okay, now I was starting to think she was exaggerating, given it was slightly past 2 a.m. at that time, and a priest, I mean, come on. That was a bit much. Or maybe it wasn't. After she got a hold of him, she explained everything and asked him to bless us in this room. She put him on speakerphone so he can perform his priestly duties. He blessed us both in this room we would be sleeping in. Now, was that what triggered the rest of the events that night, or was it completely unrelated and therefore unavoidable? I guess we will never really know. All I can say is that what ensued was the most terrifying thing that ever happened to me in my entire life. Anyway, after my girlfriend said goodnight to her uncle, we decided to try and get some sleep again and forget about that blood-chilling scream. Surprisingly, we managed to get some shut-eyes for about an hour, maybe 2, but not an actual sleep really. I got thirsty, so I sat on the side of the bed, facing one of those 2 mirror-lined walls. I picked up the water bottle left there, and I offered some to my girlfriend, seeing she too wasn't really sleeping. She said no, so I put the bottle back on the floor. Needing to stretch, I stood up to do so, stretching my arms over my head and yawning. As my eyes reopened, bringing my arms back down, I was now facing the mirrors. I screamed, as I could see clearly as everything else in the room that on the other side of the room stood 7 thin black silhouettes of men, seemingly in trench coats wearing hats. Just standing there, not moving at all. As I screamed, my reflex forced me to take a step back from the mirror, although logically it's a step towards the dark men. I stumbled on the bed as my startled girlfriend jumped on the light switch. I explained what had just happened. We decided to pack our things and leave the lights on for the few hours left, but no sleep could be found. The moment the sun was up, we checked out, stopped for breakfast, and took the first bus home. We didn't speak about it all day, but on Sunday, I was concerned, or maybe just curious, as to what had happened in this room. Adding the few elements we had, we both got the impression that something terrible happened in this very room. A gruesome hidden murder story in the closet of the motel, perhaps. We thought about making an investigation of our own online, but we both watched enough horror movies and deemed it unwise. Did the innkeeper know this and purposely gave us this room for bothering him late at night? Did the dark man's appearance was simply provoked by the blessing of the room? Who knows? But to this day, every time I tell that story to a friend, the hair on my arm stand up and I can view the silhouettes of the dark men in my head, and I still feel how ill-intended they were. The end. I thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this story and you would like to get more of those, hit the like button, maybe subscribe, and of course, feel free to leave a comment below. This is Hell Crow signing off, wishing you a good night and a safe and happy Halloween this Tuesday.